And it's time for us to now be joined via the online platform StreamYard to Dr. Hendrik Botha, the head of the institution at Boston City campus. Good morning, Doctor. How are you doing?
Good morning, and to all the viewers and listeners. I'm very well on this it feels like early spring in the Cape.
Yeah, true story. So there are many ladies, many females that complete and leave the chartered accountancy, having studied that at varsity level and so forth. Out of the 50,324 chartered accountants, however, only 20,000 are women remaining in the profession. And moreover, in this male-dominant industry, women who remain in the field are less likely to make partner than their male counterparts. So to help us to understand and unpack this a little bit, Dr. Hendrik Botha joins us now via StreamYard. What is the current status quo of the brain drain of female accountants in South Africa?
So let me first say, the irony is not lost on me this morning. We are two males discussing the brain drain of female chartered accountants in the industry.
Hey?
So I'll do my best with all due deference and respect to address this very critical issue. So I think it is very complex. There are many challenges in a male-dominated work environment, especially the public practices of chartered accountants, which is traditionally been set up with policies by men for men. Which in itself is a contradiction in saying how do we accommodate a more gender balanced environment, and how do we accommodate not just women but the individual needs of women. So some of those challenges that they face seems, I think, from our vantage point, very cursory, but are very serious in terms of strategies to retain our female counterparts. And they range from they are reported in various critical studies, and they range on areas such as feelings of around and emotions and experiences around job insecurity, impact of family responsibilities, impact of age, impact of the number of children that they have, and work overload are all stressors causing them to decide to opt out of the public-private practice arena.
Sure. And that really touches the conversation that I was having with my wife last night about this very topic. I was saying, what do you think, honey? And she immediately said, well, of course, it's the reality of that when a lady becomes pregnant, there's a time when the wife, the mother has to take time off work. And so there's this balance, and it really is difficult with regard to that. So speak into that, and specifically for chartered accountants, a field that I know very little about, but in terms of the benefits towards women in that environment.
So very, very interesting. I think there's no doubt that we need a much more balanced environment, at least a 50-50 environment, because women enrich our lives. Women represent 50% of consumers and of our economy, and they represent 50% of our talent pools. So, and they bring different views and different opinions and different experiences to bear in the professional arena, as they do in the boardroom and as they do as consultants, and whichever professional domains they aspire to and attain. So, that they are invaluable, there is no doubt. The issue of the various policies that's already been initiated in many of these larger firms and smaller firms do, to an extent, alleviate the issue, but there is still the element of there is still an undermining element of not fully comprehending the individual needs of women, and as they go through their life cycles and their life stages, rather, if I might call it that, from childbearing to child rearing and into the latter years of their profession. And there's a matrix of elements working in on this. So in spite of there being policies available, for example, extended durations of leave because of, say, specific childbearing needs, or during a period for addressing specific child rearing needs. Those are just policies as an intermediate issue, and it actually brings more stress because the ability to then be promoted in the firm it diminishes because you were off for a while, you were away from the team. So really, there needs much more to be done to address the individual needs and understand much better these demands. But what I also would like to say, I think it's partly there are other factors also causing the brain drain. There is this element of globalization and internationalization. So South Africa's chartered accountants are really rated highly and sought after highly globally because of the comprehensive curriculums they undergo in the teaching and learning phases. And because of the professional, the well curated professional domain that the South African Institute of Chartered Accountants oversees.
Yeah.
They are truly not only being employed by foreign firms to move offshore from South Africa, they are also now recently being employed in South Africa by foreign firms to work at home. So to a large extent, that causes also a drain in that it's easier for women to decide they'd be rather stay home, where I can balance some of these family, the conflict around family needs, put in the hours and earn foreign income, which is very difficult to compete, I think, for local firms. But it's a reality. It's kind of a contradiction. We have some of the best chartered accountants. However, I think it also brings to the fore the conversation around access to education, and I also think it brings to the fore the conversation around supply and demand. Every big economy and every strong economy, one of the critical building blocks is accountants. And it's not just chartered accountants. There's a whole range of professions within the accounting domain. Bookkeepers, forensic auditors, management accountants, you name it, internal auditors, financial specialists. The demand is I dare say, vast and insatiable, not just for South Africa, but globally. And for an economy to grow, one of these building blocks is that there needs to be a great number of accountants in the economy. Because for obvious reasons, accountants, or not necessarily for obvious reasons, accountants unlock the entrepreneurial opportunities, and accountants unlock the space where there's credibility for investors to invest in businesses, because accountants will be reporting on those activities and on where your investment has been spent and to track the progress of your investments. And it enables the entrepreneurs access to the banks and access to the conversations that they don't readily are able to access or readily understand how to have. So by building more accountants, just listen to me. But by generating or graduating a vast number of accountants, it also allows us to have more access as entrepreneurs to these individuals. Where there's now a limited number, it's so difficult and so costly to get good professional advice. Hence, we rather steer away from it.
Sure.
So access really is, and to enable that scale, access becomes critical. And access is also driven, I think, in two parts, or my understanding is in two parts. The one is at the point of, are there programs, and are there bridging programs, and are there programs that cater for these differentiated specialities? Because not every chartered accountant has to end up in a public-private practice. As we know, the ability of chartered accountants extend beyond that. They make some of the most successful CEOs and CFOs in listed companies and in medium-sized enterprise, and many of them have endeavored into entrepreneurial opportunities of their own, whether it's in manufacturing environments, whether it's in IT, we can list them off. So the half full side of this glass is those women who have not remained in the public practice space have left in to the broader economy, where they serve us as entrepreneurs, where they serve us with distinction as chief financial officers, as
yes,
boardroom
exactly.
members, within the financial services domains, where they become our advisors in our pension funds. So it's not a. There is a critical reflection required of the private practice industry to say, how do we retain women? Because that is critical. But
That
it's
is
not an
critical.
entire loss.
Exactly.
And I think it's also there's this element of we need to build an army of accountants. The more accountants we push through, the more women we let into teaching and learning and to graduate, the more this vacuum will eventually be filled. Because they simply just outpace their male counterparts. I must be honest with you.
Wow, amazing. We're running out of time there, Dr. Botha, but thank you so much. I think it's, again, just hopefully ignited a passion among young women and parents of children to really look at accountancy as a study field and so forth. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it, and that's where we're going to have to leave it for this morning. Thank you,
Thank you
Dr.
very
Hendrik
much.
Botha.
Have a blessed day.
Thanks. You too.